Home is supposed to be a place of rest and safety, but not for these houses. What on earth is happening to them? Stick around to uncover the truth. Even the way home becomes a test of height and alertness, because you'll need to pick the right staircase and climb hundreds of winding steps, spiraling around a giant atrium just to reach your front door. Or take one wrong step and end up at a stranger's doorstep. While the open space here leaves a striking impression, the rooms themselves are, well, they're a bit on the humble side. Right in the heart of glamorous Mumbai exists a completely opposite world known as Dharavi, the most densely populated slum on Earth. Covering less than 2.5 square kilometers, this area is home to nearly 1 million people living in cramped housing, with scarce access to clean water and public toilets shared by hundreds. Yet, despite the overcrowded homes and harsh living conditions, the residents here have built a thriving microeconomy, a recycling industry where 60% of Mumbai's plastic waste is processed right in Dharavi. Not everyone chooses to live in a place where every moment is a jolt to the heart. Tourists come here for the thrill, but few realize that just behind the charming cafes are the actual homes of local families. Each time a train horn blares, it brings more than just noise, shaking, and smoke. It carries a constant fear, especially for the safety of their children. Now, it's not just their own lives they worry about. They keep a close eye on every tourist step, because a visitor's safety is tied to the livelihood of the family watching from behind. It's hard to believe this could be called a house, because it's made entirely of leaves, branches, and thousands of knots. Built solely by the hands of women, from gathering materials kilometers away, to digging the foundation, to weaving walls. To withstand floods from the Tana River, they adapted by making a raised platform. Today, modern materials are slowly replacing these homes, but in some regions, the tradition is still preserved. This house can rotate a full 360 degrees, even though it weighs a staggering 420 tons. And it doesn't need a complex engine to do so, just the same amount of electricity as an ordinary fan. Its mechanically passionate owner used a hydraulic system, placing the house atop a water basin, powered by a rotating shaft and propellers. The rotation speed is fully adjustable, even matching the Earth's 24-hour spin cycle, so those living inside won't feel a thing. Hidden deep within the Rocky Mountains lies a mysterious shelter that seems almost non-existent. It can only be spotted by drone or from high above, as it's nearly invisible from the ground. After navigating a narrow, winding mountain path, you'll arrive at a house carved straight into the rock. Because of its secrecy and isolation, rumors once swirled that it served as a hideout for a notorious bandit gang in China. Crazy House is the kind of place where the walk from your kitchen to your bedroom feels like an adventure through a fairy tale realm. Inspired by nature and fantastical creatures, this house follows no rules, just warped curves and winding passages, that take you from sweet dreams to vivid nightmares. But it's not just for sightseeing. This place also offers accommodations, where each room is a story, a world entirely its own. In the biting cold of a remote mountain region, a small home dug into the earth became the only refuge for a widowed mother and her 2 children. No electricity, no running water, just mud walls, a makeshift tarp roof, and an old fireplace. Yet to them, this was the most precious shelter to survive the harsh winter. It would be brutal to live in -5 degrees Celsius temperatures and sleep on a bed made of ice. Yet every year, over 70,000 guests willingly seek shelter at this one-of-a-kind ice and snow hotel. Inside, it feels more like an art gallery. Walls, hallways, and ceilings are all intricately sculpted by ice sculptors. Like a giant freezer, no electricity or heat is allowed in here. Before falling asleep, guests must follow strict safety rules or risk waking up frozen. You might think living in a cave isn't for you until you see Dunlop Hollow Cave, a 1,500 square foot cavern magically transformed into a modern living space. An unexpected harmony of stone, wood, and light makes the home melt right into nature. And it's so unbelievably cozy, you'll forget you're in a cave out in the wild. When trash isn't just recycled, but turned into the very foundation of a real home. This house is built entirely from earth, water, processed waste, and discarded materials. Designed in an earth-sheltered style, part of the home is buried in the ground, with a roof covered in mud and greenery, providing natural insulation all year round. In Haiti, there's a hillside known as Jalousie en Couleur. Already densely populated, it plunged into even greater chaos after the 2010 earthquake, when hundreds of thousands lost their homes and nearly 5,000 escaped prisoners fled here seeking shelter. The houses may have been repainted in bright, cheerful colors, but nothing can cover the hardships of a community with no schools, no hospitals, and even no law. Could you truly sleep soundly next to a gaping pit as if it were ready to swallow the entire city whole? That's not even counting the pollution, soil, water, and air tainted by heavy metals. And yet, ordinary people live here, day in and day out, just a stone's throw away from the edge. The mind keeps digging, the danger keeps growing, but perhaps they've grown numb to fear. In the northern cemetery of Manila, Philippines, thousands have built makeshift homes and live among the graves, like it's the most normal thing in the world. No one wants to live here, but poverty has left them no choice but to coexist with the dead. Most scrape by as tomb builders, gatekeepers, or street vendors, weaving through headstones. Despite decades of government crackdowns, this haunting reality refuses to fade. And you, if it came down to it, would you have the courage to call this place home? Sharks usually make people tremble. But in one quiet neighborhood in England, it's just part of the view. Piercing through the roof is a 7.6-meter-long shark statue. When seen with their own eyes, everyone is stunned to find that the house interior is completely ordinary, a perfect contrast to the attention-grabbing exterior. Would you dare spend a night with a shark circling just overhead? In the Danakil Depression, volcanoes simmer beneath the surface, making it the hottest place in the world. The average temperatures range from 35 to 40 degrees Celsius year-round, and peaks surpassing 50 degrees Celsius. And yet, people still live here, as if they were born to survive Earth's extreme survival mode. Once an ancient seabed, Danakil now hosts vast salt fields, the only resource locals can harvest from this unforgiving land. It's a place that seems uninhabitable, yet somehow it bursts with colors in the most unexpected way. If one day you spot a tiny wagon and a flock of sheep strolling down the road, it might just be Aaron Fletcher. Living like a modern-day nomad, Aaron is perfectly content with what little he has. Sheep's milk is his lifeline. He bartered for bread, vegetables, or anything else that's still edible. No address, no modern comforts, just the sound of sheep echoing through the hills. And for him, that's the dream life. There's a village where, if you look from above, not a single rooftop comes into view. You might think it's a network of bunkers, but these are actual homes, carved deep into the earth. People here have lived this way for thousands of years, all because of the freezing winters and the scorching summers. Instead of reaching for the skies, they chose to survive by digging into the ground. The Makoko floating neighborhood is often referred to as the poor man's Venice of Africa, as most of the area stands precariously on wooden stilts over brackish swampland. There are no roads, no clean water, and no officially recognized schools. Yet over 100,000 people call this place home. Living in such harsh conditions, the residents constantly face pollution, disease, and countless daily struggles. Deep in the woods of Tennessee, once stood a towering wooden structure nearly 30 meters tall, built by a minister. He spent nearly 20 years constructing a massive 10-story maze in the middle of the forest, something no one believed he could finish until they saw it with their own eyes. But sadly, in 2019, a sudden fire engulfed it all. This bizarre masterpiece lives on only in memory. There's no sewer service here, but there's an entire community living in the dark. In Bucharest, Romania, around 6,000 homeless people have made the underground sewer system their home. It's unimaginable. It's like an entire slum crammed into the sewer. Everything is a mess. Though the government has tried to shut it down, the situation remains unchanged. And so, two parallel worlds continue to exist. One glamorous, one forgotten, separated only by a manhole cover. On days when visibility drops to nearly zero and everything is smothered in a thick white veil. But nothing is strange here, since the capital of the Sakha Republic is built entirely on permafrost, where the ground never melts. And yet, the locals still adapt with incredible resilience. Even soaking in icy water isn't a challenge for them. Once known as a dreamy coastal city, Pacifica is now being swallowed by the ocean, inch by inch, year by year. In just a few decades, entire rows of homes have vanished. By 2016, authorities issued emergency evacuations as apartment buildings began to tilt toward the sea. And yet, some houses still cling desperately to the crumbling edge, hovering between staying and slipping away. They call it the Dr. Seuss House, as a funny nickname. Goose Creek Tower looks like it jumped straight out of a whimsical children's book. But this is the real world. And yes, someone actually lives here. Though construction had to stop due to building regulations, the tower still stands tall as an inspirational symbol. Chances are, the clothes you toss out end up drifting to Ghana, devouring the lives of those who live there. This is Kantomato Market, one of the world's largest fashion dumping grounds. Each week, over 15 million used garments from America and Europe are dumped here. Black, toxic water, filled with bacteria and dyes, runs through the nearby homes. Every piece of fabric they pick up is both a lifeline and a slow poison. In the middle of the scorching Australian desert, there's a place where people simply can't live above ground. In summer, temperatures can soar to 50 degrees Celsius. Originally, people came here chasing opals, but then they stayed, transforming the mine shafts into underground homes. Over time, one of the world's most unusual towns took shape. It might sound impossible, but thousands now live here, gathered beneath the desert in a way of life unlike any other. This place is also known as Happy Land, but don't be fooled by the name. It actually comes from Hapalon, which means smelly garbage. Around 12,000 people live, eat, and breathe here. Their livelihood depends mainly on scavenging and recycling waste. In 2020, a fire broke out, leaving hundreds homeless during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. This circumstance worsened the struggle of those already battling harsh living conditions and daily safety risks. Do you dare to take on the challenge of living inside a volcano that could erupt at any moment? There's a place in Japan where people do exactly that every single day. Aogashima, the most remote and inaccessible inhabited island in the country, tucked away in the Izu Islands of southern Japan. The last major eruption was in 1785, claiming many lives. Yet, people still returned, and they've stayed ever since. Today, the island's main livelihood comes from producing shochu alcohol by using the geothermal heat rising from beneath their very feet. In the middle of the Bahamas lies a ghost of time, known as Darby Island Castle. Once owned by a man named Sir Guy Baxter, allegedly knighted by the King of England. The castle took a dark turn during World War II, when Baxter was suspected of being a Nazi sympathizer. Then suddenly, he and his wife vanished without a trace and never returned. To this day, the wooden floors and original furnishings remain intact, turning the castle into a magnet for dark tourism lovers, urban explorers, and photographers alike. Before you stands a very distinctive house. It rotates depending on the direction of the wind, where the sun shines, and even how the person inside moves. The entire structure balances on a single axis, like a giant seesaw. Artists and architects Alex Schweder and Ward Shelley lived in this house, known as Reactor, for 5 days straight. They had to carefully adjust to each other's every move, because if one of them shifted, the entire house would tilt, and the other had to rebalance. Crowding without control leads to traffic chaos. And in Dhaka, it's turned the city not only into the noisiest in Bangladesh, but in the entire world. The noise here never stops, day or night. Average sound levels often exceed 100 decibels, which is alarming. In a place where honking is as natural as breathing, residents are now paying the price with hearing loss. Every city has its own rhythm, but Dhaka is overwhelmed by one relentless instrument, the vehicle horn. At first glance, this house doesn't look particularly special. But get a little closer and you'll see. It's built right on top of an old hardened lava flow. Jade Chen's family was among the first to settle here. With no running water, they collect rainwater from the roof and store it in a large outdoor tank. Despite the harsh conditions, the Chen family has thrived, inspiring others to take a leap of faith and build new homes rising from the ashes. Perched, almost like a ghost, suspended above the roaring Crystal River. Crystal Mill was originally built as a gas compressor station back in 1892. Reaching it is no easy feat. You'll need an ATV, a horse-drawn carriage, or the grit to hike nearly 5 miles of rugged mountain trail. Though it's been silent for over 130 years, the wooden structure defies time, still standing proud against the elements. Today, it's a symbol of resilience and one of the most photographed icons in all of Colorado. Majestic on land once deemed unbuildable, the Elk Rock residence now proudly stands as the home of architect Robert O. Schatz. Turning the challenge into an advantage, he crafted a bold, funnel-shaped home directly into the dramatic 30-degree slope. The steep terrain became an asset, allowing for soaring ceilings, sweeping open spaces, and expansive windows that flood the natural light. Though it appears daring from the outside, inside it's a haven of comfort. And from the house, you're treated to breathtaking, unobstructed views of the forest and the river. Before your eyes stand charming red-painted wooden houses with green thatched roofs that appear to be straight out of a Nordic fairy tale. But have you ever wondered why the residents of Faroe Islands, Denmark, grow grass on their roofs? Well, it's not about planting seeds and waiting patiently. Instead, they cut thick patches of turf and flip them upside down, layering them like tiles. So why do they do it? It's actually an adaptation, used for centuries to endure the island's cold climate. In the heart of one of the driest places on Earth lies a lake that has existed for thousands of years. This is Crescent Lake, shaped perfectly like a crescent moon. No rivers are feeding it, no monsoon rains to replenish it, yet the lake never dries up. And to this day, locals still live nearby, welcoming travelers with camel rides, paragliding adventures, and unforgettable views of the glowing desert sunset. If you wanted to escape from the world, where would you go? Someone chose to live on this lonely mountaintop. This small house sits precariously on a steep cliff in Dashan, Guizhou, China. Living in a place like this is no easy feat. The conditions are poor and unsafe. Would you dare live here? Everything is limited, but in return, there is absolute freedom. In Austin, Texas, there exists a building that defies the world of conventional shapes. That is Bloom House. The house has no straight walls, no flat ceiling, and breaks all the usual architectural rules. Designed by architect Charles Harker, this masterpiece draws inspiration from nature, seashells, ocean waves, and the wind. As you move through the house, it feels like stepping into a magical maze, where every turn reveals a new surprise. No roads, no cars, just boats. That's the unusual way traffic flows in a town in the Netherlands. While most of us move across hard ground every day, in Haythorn, a charming network of canals and wooden bridges connects the lives of its 2,400 residents. Going to school, commuting to work, or shopping all happen by boat. Would you dare live in an apartment that looks like it's about to fall off? This bizarre structure is actually a clever solution to a tricky urban planning challenge in the Netherlands. Each cube juts dramatically from the main building, extending up to 10 meters, seemingly defying the laws of gravity. Drifting quietly in the middle of the water, this wooden egg has been home to one man for months. Inspired by seabirds nesting along the coast, artist Stephen Turner designed the sturdy structure. It served not only as his residence, but also as a floating laboratory, where he studied estuarine tides. The egg has since captured public imagination, making appearances at local exhibitions. You're not imagining it. This is truly a house growing on a live mango tree. Its branches twist through the house, yet the tree stays vibrant, even bearing fruit. Along the walls, ceilings, and floors, mango limbs are spotted everywhere. Even the table and cozy resting spots are shaped by the tree itself. The owner leaves behind the chaos and dust of city life to embrace the gentle rustle of leaves and the songs of birds. This house is only 1 meter wide, so narrow that the walls feel like they're about to kiss. It's the creation of Austrian artist Erwin Wurm, a surreal recreation of his childhood home. A place so cramped, you have to lean just to slide your way in. Inside the narrow house, everything from tables, chairs, the kitchen, even the toilet have been stretched and squeezed like a ribbon. You may not believe it, but right in the United States, a country known for order and modernity, there exists a place with no police, no taxes, no addresses, and no laws. Welcome to Slab City, dubbed by some as the capital of absolute freedom, and by others as America's forgotten dark corner. Homeless wanderers, war veterans, eccentric artists, and fugitives all gather in this land, building homes out of planks and campers. But what sets Slab City apart is the fierce determination of its people not to leave. Because in this harsh chaos, they found a kind of freedom that civilized society could not give. Abelanus, a furniture designer, did not want to reveal his exact location, so he built himself a hideout. From there, a secret studio under a bridge in the Spanish city of Valencia was born. The parasitic structure makes use of a pair of concrete beams beneath the bridge deck as the runners for a set of wheels, which allow the studio to be moved using a hand crank. This shelf provides a workspace during the day and can also serve as a sleeping area for him at night. It's hard to imagine the suffocating feeling of standing where the oxygen level is barely half of what is at sea level. Yet, in the cloud-high town of La Rinconada, nearly 50,000 people call this place home. Breathing is just one of many challenges here. The land is scorched by mining, surrounded by waste, and riddled with danger. Still, they endure it all for one reason: gold. As harsh as life may be, the promise of income from the mines is enough to keep them rooted in this place. On an island smaller than a football field, over 1,200 people are crammed together, living day by day. This tiny patch of land, just 0.012 kilometers squared wide and isolated in the middle of the sea, is anything but boring. Everyone knows each other, and everything is shared. And thanks to its remote location, this island became the first territory in Colombia to report 0 COVID-19 cases. If this made you suddenly appreciate where you live a little more, leave a comment below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to keep exploring the world's hidden corners with WowTech.